into semantic qualifiers, which can set one up for bias if the original history is never revisited. Now what about that phrase, synthesized into clinical syndromes? A short elaboration on this is that a constellation of clearly related findings can be grouped together into a single clinical syndrome if possible. For example, if a patient has confusion, a fever to 39 degrees, heart rate of 120 beats per minute, blood pressure of 130 over 60, respiratory rate 24, white blood cell count 16,000, creatinine of 2.4, and positive blood cultures, you can synthesize that as severe sepsis. And if another patient has jaundice ascites, confusion, asterosis, a solubility of 25, and an INR of 2, that can be summarized as hepatic failure. Another word of caution, don't mistake the clinical syndrome for the diagnosis. For example, it's great if you recognize a patient has severe sepsis. However, severe sepsis is not a final diagnosis, and your diagnostic reasoning should not end here. You must also determine what has caused the severe sepsis, if it's community-acquired pneumonia, or urinary tract infection, or appendicitis. So now, using semantic qualifiers and clinical syndromes, how do we construct the problem representation? There are at least two approaches to this. The one I favor is to link four categories of information into a single sentence using a standardized order. Age and gender first, then highly relevant past medical history, followed by the primary symptom using semantic qualifiers, and ending with the highly relevant diagnostic data using clinical syndromes when possible. For example, a 60-year-old woman with a history of fully controlled diabetes presents with chronic progressive exertional dyspnea, with exam and chest X-ray findings of volume overload, and with unremarkable routine labs and EKG. The other approach to the problem representation is to consider only this category. So for this patient, the problem representation becomes just chronic progressive exertional dyspnea. I personally don't like this approach as much because I think the upside of being more concise is outweighed by the downside of eliminating the additional information, but you certainly will come across the second approach from time to time. Alright, so let's get back to our 5 steps. That was a long one. Step 4 is to adopt a framework to better understand the patient's problem. This framework may be anatomic, physiologic, or some other type, and it's commonly adapted from a reference source. Frameworks typically take the form of a categorized, general differential diagnosis, where the strategy for categorization depends upon the specific problem. What are some types of frameworks? A framework for acute renal failure may first divide diagnoses up into pre-renal, intrarenal, and post-renal, meaning is the problem before blood gets to the kidney, inside the kidney, or after urine leaves the kidney. Some of these categories can be further subdivided. So pre-renal etiologies can either be from dehydration or from low cardiac output, and intrarenal etiologies can either be glomerular, tubular, or interstitial. Another example of a framework, this time for anemia, divides the etiologies into hypoproliferative and hyperproliferative. Hypoproliferative anemias can be from nutritional deficiencies, bone marrow failure, kidney disease, or chronic disease and/or inflammation. Hyperproliferative anemia can be from acute blood loss or hemolysis. There's not just one acceptable framework for a specific patient problem. For example, let's consider the patient we just mentioned a minute ago. A 60-year-old woman with a history of fully controlled diabetes who presents with chronic progressive exertional dyspnea, with exam and chest X-ray findings of volume overload, and with unremarkable routine labs and EKG. What type of framework might we choose to adopt here? In my experience, the most likely framework a clinician will choose for this problem is an anatomic one, also referred to as organ-based. So for this woman with dyspnea, that means that it could be a cardiac problem, a pulmonary problem, or a heme problem. As we just saw briefly with the kidneys, all of our organs can be further subdivided into functional components. So a problem in the heart could be in the myocardium, coronary vessels, valves, reduction system, or pericardium. A problem in the lungs can be located in the airways, alveoli, pulmonary vessels, interstitium, or pleura. And finally, hematologic issues can involve any of the individual cell lines or coagulation problems or issues with paraproteins. However, with dyspnea as a chief complaint, the major hematologic concern is, of course, anemia. My thoroughness of these frameworks is limited by the minimum font size one use in the diagrams here, but if I was being more thorough, I would also list the renal system here with subcategories of the renal arteries, glomeruli, tubules, interstitium, and collecting system. So that's the anatomic framework, which is just one way of categorizing differential diagnosis for this problem. Another completely acceptable framework that's based more on physiology might ask, what are the pathophysiologic mechanisms that can trigger dyspnea? There's hypoxia, which can be from DQ mismatch, impaired diffusion, or shunt. There's hypercapnia, which can be from obstructive lung disease, central hypoventilation, neuromuscular disease, or decreased respiratory compliance. Less commonly is dyspnea from acidemia, either from pathologic acid production or from poor acid elimination. Finally, input from the cerebral cortex from anxiety and pain can also lead to the subjective sensation of dyspnea. This framework isn't necessarily better or worse than the anatomic one, just different. It's likely that some people naturally gravitate towards one and some to the other. One other type of framework that I feel both obligated and reluctant to mention is the mnemonic framework. I feel obligated because many medical schools still teach and expect their students to use it. I'm reluctant because I think it is vastly inferior to other types of frameworks. But nevertheless, here it is. One such mnemonic that's taught is Vindicate. The D stands for vascular, the I for inflammatory, N for neoplastic, D is degenerative, the second I is idiopathic, C is congenital, A is autoimmune, T for traumatic, and lastly E for endocrine. Okay, one more step to go. Apply the key features to the framework, which will generate the preliminary differential diagnosis. When applying the key features, the clinician should use their presence or absence to estimate the likelihood of the diseases or pathophysiologic states that are suggested by the framework. As a brief example, imagine a 55-year-old man with a history of alcoholism and depression presents with chronic progressive bilateral lower extremity edema with an exam notable for anasarca and a serum albumin of 1.5 grams per deciliter. One of the several frameworks one might employ for this case might be a physiologic one, where there are four categories with four major mechanisms of hypoalbuminemia. There is impaired intake of protein, seen in malnutrition, impaired utilization and synthesis of protein, seen in liver disease, excessive glomerular filtration of protein, seen in the nephrotic syndrome, and excessive GI loss of protein, a syndrome known as protein-losing enteropathy. The key features for such a patient might include a history of depression. How does depression affect the probability of any of the categories in the framework? It's not linked to liver disease independent of substance abuse, and it's not associated with either nephrotic syndrome or protein-losing enteropathy. However, it does increase the chance of malnutrition as the patient may not be eating properly in his depressed state. And key features also include the presence of spider angiomata and splenomegaly on exam. That would dramatically increase the likelihood of liver disease. If the patient has no history of GI symptoms, particularly diarrhea, that would dramatically decrease the probability of protein-losing enteropathy, as all pathology that causes general diagnosis also leads diarrhea and a host of other symptoms. And if the key features include a UA without any proteinuria, that would be definitive enough evidence to completely rule out nephrotic syndrome from the differential altogether. Estimating to what degree individual key features impact which components of the framework and/or differential is a skill that requires both textbook knowledge, familiarity with scientific literature, and experience. In my opinion, it is the single aspect of clinical reasoning that more than any other differentiates novice clinicians from the experts. So I'm going to start this video with a discussion of the next issue, but although most of you are likely familiar with the term differential page compelling using it. A differential diagnosis, often abbreviated as just differential, is a list of possible diagnoses which may explain the patient's presentation. It should include those diagnoses in which either its likelihood is high enough or the danger if it should be missed is high enough in order to warrant additional testing to investigate that specific diagnosis. It may or may not include additional diagnoses whose likelihood is low enough to not warrant immediate testing, but which have not been completely ruled out. The differential diagnosis should be prioritized in descending order of likelihood. A solid focused differential diagnosis should include the following. The one diagnosis that you believe to be the most likely. This is known as the working diagnosis or provisional diagnosis. 2 to 4 diagnoses that are very common in general, for which this patient's case could be either a typical or an atypical presentation. Any diagnoses which are rapidly fatal, untreated, of which this patient's case could plausibly be the result. This is often known as a don't miss diagnosis. Finally, any diagnoses which are specifically suggested by standout features of the patient's history, including unusual hobbies or job, and recent travels to an exotic location. Most of these unusual standout features will be what we refer to as red herrings. A red herring is an unusual element of the presentation that falsely appears quite relevant, but ultimately distracts the clinician away from the true diagnosis. It seems common for medical trainees to be instructed to keep their differential diagnoses broad. What this is meant to mean is that the trainee should not prematurely jump to conclusions regarding the culprit working system, or determine that a single diagnosis is the only one worth considering. Unfortunately, the recommendation to keep the differential broad is frequently misunderstood to mean that the differential should be very long and span every organ system in the body. A long differential is more problematic than a focused one, even in training, because it actually displays less thought, and it can be difficult to formulate a diagnostic plan if there are 15 different conditions simultaneously under consideration. For the typical internal medicine admission, I would consider 4 to 6 diagnoses a good ballpark range to aim for developing a practical differential. My last words of caution. First, the framework and differential diagnosis are not the same thing. The framework may be adopted directly from a reference source and is not specific for your patient. The differential diagnosis, on the other hand, includes only those diagnoses relevant to the patient in question. A differential diagnosis that has not been made specific to the patient is nearly worthless. When prioritizing the differential and establishing the provisional diagnosis, in general, an atypical presentation of a common disease is more likely than a typical presentation of a rare disease. Finally, the true typical presentation of a disease does not always match the technical description of a disease or its historically taught presentation. For example, it's usually taught in medical schools and reinforced in suboptimally researched textbooks that spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, or SBP, usually presents with abdominal pain, abdominal tenderness, and so-called peritoneal signs on physical exam. In reality, the most common presentation of SBP in a patient with no liver disease is altered mental status, with or without a fever, and without any abdominal signs at all. As another example, it's frequently believed that patients with pericardial tamponade either usually or always present with hypotension. In reality, when studied, it's been shown that the majority of patients with proven tamponade are actually not hypotensive at presentation. There are many more examples of discrepancies between how an inaccurate classic presentation of a disease negatively impacts diagnostic reasoning. Most patients with heart attacks don't have crushing substernal chest pain. Most patients with migraine headaches don't experience a visual aura before headache onset. The list goes on and on. So that's it for my 5 steps to a differential diagnosis. Once again, they are: first, acquire data; second, identify the key features; third, create a problem representation using specific qualifiers and clinical syndromes; fourth, adopt the framework; and last, apply the key features to the framework in order to generate differential diagnosis. That concludes part 1 of this guide on clinical reasoning, focusing on how to create an accurate and focused differential diagnosis. As I mentioned at the beginning, in parts 2 and 3, I'll go through examples from start to finish of how to apply this approach to a real-world patient. As you listen to parts 2 and 3, I consider pausing intermittently as you go in order to practice working through the case on your own. Hello, this is Eric Strong again, and this is lecture 1 in this course on antibiotics. The topic of this lecture is the classification of bacteria. The learning objective of this lecture is very straightforward. By the end of the lecture, you should be able to classify common bacteria by gram stain, morphology, and a variety of other discriminating characteristics. When an infectious disease is first suspected, before an appropriate antibiotic regimen can be chosen, one must first hypothesize as to the likely type of infection, as well as the most likely responsible pathogens. A prerequisite for understanding bacterial infections, and for speaking intelligently about with colleagues, is a basic understanding of how bacteria are named and classified. Most pathologic bacterial species are colloquially referred to by genus name only. For example, Klebsiella, Proteus, Salmonella, and Pseudomonas. Some are referred to by specific species name, as in E. coli. And some are usually referred to by genus name only, but probably should be referred to more specifically, as in Enterococcus, Staph, and Strep. Lack of specificity with these genera are problematic, as the pathologic species within them don't necessarily behave the same way or share similar antibiotic sensitivities. When bacteria are classified, there are many different considerations. First, morphology. Are the bacteria cocci or rods, or halfway in between so-called cocobacilli? Second, does the gram stain show them to be gram positive, gram negative, gram variable, or just not staining? Next, what are their growth requirements? For example, do they need oxygen? What types of biochemical reactions are they able to undergo? Some bacteria, specifically Streptococcus, are classified according to serotype. Within a single species of bacteria, further distinction can be made based upon antibiotic sensitivity. For example, methicillin-sensitive versus methicillin-resistant strains of Staph aureus. And finally, the most recent development in bacterial classification is rRNA sequence analysis, which has helped greatly with formal taxonomy, but which has no routine clinical application. Along with gram staining, general morphology is one of the 2 most important methods of differentiating bacteria. On the most basic level, there are 2 bacterial shapes. The first is a coccus, or cocci in the plural form. A coccus is spherical. The other shape is colloquially referred to as a rod, which is generally elongated with straight sides. Occasionally, the shape will refer to as a bacillus. Unfortunately, bacillus is also a specific genus of bacteria, and using the term to describe the shape can potentially be confusing, so most people generally prefer the term rod. Let's talk about gram staining for a few minutes. The gram stain depends upon the fact that different types of bacteria have different cell wall structures. Most bacteria fall into one of 2 categories. In the first, the outer boundary of the cell is defined by a thick wall of peptidoglycan, which is a polymer of sugars and amino acid. Just inside of the cytoplasm is a thin plasma membrane, which is as most plasma membranes is composed predominantly of a phospholipid bilayer. Bacteria which have the structure are referred to as gram-positive. In the other category of bacteria, the outermost layer is referred to as the outer membrane, which is made up of lipopolysaccharide and protein. Inside of this is a thin peptidoglycan layer. Finally, the innermost layer is the same plasma membrane. These bacteria are known as gram-negative. Gram staining uses these differences to create distinguishing colors after application of a sequence of stains. Let's go over the specific sequence of steps in a gram stain, starting with an unstained slide of bacteria, which is a mix of unknown rods and unknown diplocoxy, that is coxy that occurs in pairs. The first step is to apply a dye known as crystal violet, which enters and stains all bacteria purple. Next, iodine is added. Iodine forms a complex with the crystal violet that partially traps it within the peptidoglycan layer. Then, the cells are washed with ethyl alcohol, or sometimes acetone. In gram-negative cells, the alcohol or acetone destroys the outer liposaccharide membrane and washes out the crystal violet iodine complexes, so that these cells become unstained again. However, the crystal violet iodine complexes cannot wash out of the much thicker peptidoglycan layer to gram-positive cells, so they stay purple. Finally, a counterstain, usually a compound called safranin, is added, which doesn't disrupt the gram-positive cells which have retained crystal violet, but which do stain the gram-negative cells pink. Thus, in this example, the unknown diplocoxy are gram-positive and the unknown rods are gram-negative. The combination of morphology and gram stain results in four major categories of bacteria. First are the gram-positive coxy. Some gram-positive coxy tend to form clusters of bacteria. This is predominantly seen with the genus Staphylococcus, while other gram-positive coxy form either short chains or pairs. This is seen with Streptococcus, Enterococcus, and Peptostreptococcus. Another category of bacteria are the gram-negative rods. There are many specific bacterial species in here, most notably E. coli, and the genera Proteus, Klebsiella, Cerevisia, Enterobacter, Shigella, Salmonella, Yersinia, Pseudomonas, Stenotrophomonas, and Bacteroides. These are the two largest general categories of bacteria. However, there are also the gram-negative coxy. The two more entries here are the genera Bacteria and Moraxella. And finally, clinically relevant gram-positive rods are relatively uncommon, but include Clostridium and Actinomyces. You may have noticed that some of these bacteria are written in italics. Those are anaerobic bacteria, that is, bacteria that only thrive in the absence of oxygen. While most anaerobic bacteria can be gram-stained, during clinical discussions they are generally grouped together under the term anaerobes and are not referred to by morphology or gram-staining properties. There are a few bacteria that don't clearly conform to these four categories. This is partly because they may have shapes that are either variable or fall somewhere in between coxy and rods and are therefore known as cocobacilli. An example of a gram-positive cocobacillus is Listeria, which can cause meningitis in infants, the elderly, and the immunosuppressed. Gram-negative cocobacilli include Haemophilus, Legionella, both of which are major causes of community-acquired pneumonia, and Bordetella, one species of which causes pertussis, also known as whooping cough. Finally, one particularly nasty bacteria is the gram-variable Cocobacillus acinetobacter, the morphology of which is sometimes listed as rods and sometimes listed as pleomorphic. The term gram-variable is itself defined variably in literature, but generally means that a bacterial species can stain either gram-positive or gram-negative, sometimes mixed even on the same slide. In other words, acinetobacter can look like just about anything, which seems fitting given the difficulty treating this frequently multi-drug-resistant cause of ventilator-associated pneumonia. There are a large number of additional tests used in complex algorithms to further distinguish clinically relevant bacterial species. Luckily, when it comes to acute bacterial infections in humans, there are only four tests that are referred to outside of the microbiology lab. They are the coagulase test, the hemolysis test, Bransfield serotyping, and the ability of some bacteria to ferment lactose. I'll talk briefly about each. Coagulase is an enzyme produced by some bacteria that converts fibrinogen to fibrin. Its presence is used predominantly to differentiate the different species of Staphylococcus. Staph species which express coagulase are Staph aureus and some strains of Staph intermedius. Most other Staph species do not express coagulase. This is a particularly helpful distinction since Staph species that are coagulase negative are generally not pathologic and are frequently contaminants when growing culture. This issue will be discussed a little more in the next lecture. The hemolysis test. Streptococcal species are further classified based on their ability to hemolyze red blood cells. This ability is usually tested by culturing known streptococcal bacteria on a media called blood agar, which generally contains either sheep or horse blood. The pattern of growth on blood agar can place a streptococcal species into one of three categories. Alpha-hemolytic strep oxidizes the iron within the hemoglobin molecule to create methemoglobin, which results in a green or occasionally brown discoloration surrounding the colonies on the agar. Although this is sometimes referred to as, quote, partial hemolysis, the red blood cells are in fact still intact. Species which fall into this category are Strep pneumoniae and a pseudotaxonomic category called Viridin strep. Beta-hemolytic strep causes complete hemolysis, which results in a clearing of blood surrounding bacterial colonies. This is seen in Strep pyogenes and Strep agalactiae. Finally, gamma-hemolytic strep induces no hemolysis at all. This is seen with Strep bovis and with the genus Enterococcus, which has been considered to be a type of Streptococcus until the 1980s. Lancefield serotypes are also sometimes used to distinguish species of Streptococcus and Enterococcus from one another. These serotypes are based on specific carbohydrates present on the bacterial wall. Group A serotype includes Strep pyogenes, Group B serotype includes Strep agalactiae, Group D includes Enterococcus and Strep bovis, and Strep pneumoniae and Viridins have no Lancefield antigens to categorize. Here are the relationships between Lancefield serotypes and the hemolysis test. If you are wondering what happens to Group C strep, not only is there a Group C, but there are also Groups E, F, G, and H as well. Luckily, none of the members are commonly associated with human disease, so unless you are a veterinarian, there is no need to remember them. The final important microtest I'll discuss today is lactose fermentation. The ability to ferment lactose is a major differentiating characteristic of gram-negative rods. It is usually tested by culturing the unknown bacteria on a media named Macanthi agar. This is actually a full test, so I'll talk about it just a little bit more than the others. Macanthi agar has 6 critical components. First is the agar, which provides structural support for bacterial growth. There are biosalts and crystal violet, both of which inhibit the growth of gram-positive bacteria. Lactose is present, which can be used as food for lactose-fermenting bacteria. This results in acidic byproducts and a decrease in the pH of the agar. Peptides are present, which is used as food for the non-lactose-fermenting bacteria. The ammonia that is the metabolic byproduct results in an increase in pH. Finally, there is a dye called neutral red, which changes to a red color at lower pH. Here's what is seen when bacteria are grown on the Macanthi agar place. Lactose fermenters, also known as lactose-positive bacteria, are dyed red and are surrounded by a red halo in the agar. The major lactose-positive organisms are E. coli, Klebsiella, and Enterobacter. Lactose non-fermenters, that is lactose-negative bacteria, appear translucent. These include almost all other gram-negative rods, except for those in a final category known as the lactose-slow fermenters, which on the agar may appear red or pink, but without the distinctive halo of the lactose-positive bacteria. There are two commonly cited members of this category, Citrobacter and Serratia. I'd like to talk just for a minute more about Enterococcus. As I already mentioned, it was formerly known as Group D Streptococcus until the 1980s. And as I mentioned near the very beginning of the lecture, many people refer to all Enterococcus species simply by the genus name. In fact, some microlabs don't even routinely differentiate Enterococcus species. This is really problematic because these species don't act the same. There are two major pathogenic Enterococcus species. First, E. bicalis causes the majority of Enterococcal infections. We won't discuss individual antibiotics until lecture 3, but be aware that E. bicalis is relatively less resistant to antibiotics. Of particular concern is ampicillin, vancomycin, and immunoglycosides. E. faecium causes a sizable minority of Enterococcal infections, particularly nosocomial ones. E. faecium is relatively more resistant to these antibiotics. So the bottom line is, if you are concerned about the possibility of enterococcal infection, it's best to pay attention to the individual species, as it will influence decisions about antibiotic therapy, while the sensitivities are still pending from the microlab. Most of the bacteria I focused on so far are the so-called typical bacteria. There are two more brief categories to discuss. First are the previously mentioned anaerobes. Once again, this term refers to all bacteria which grow and reproduce only in the absence of oxygen. They are predominantly found in the GI tract, including the oral cavity. While they are generally stingable via gram stain, they are rarely referred to as gram-positive or negative in clinical practice. Common examples of anaerobes are genera Clostridium, Bacteroides, Streptococci, and Actinomyces. Finally are the so-called atypical bacteria. This is an inexact term applied to bacteria which are particularly unusual in some way or another, usually in cell structure, morphology, biochemistry, and or life cycle. Routinely cited examples of atypical bacteria are Mycoplasma, which lack a cell wall and are highly pleomorphic; Chlamydia, which lack the cytoglycan in the cell wall, have an unusual multi-phase life cycle, and are obligate intracellular parasites. That is, they are incapable of producing their own ATP. Rickettsia, which are also obligate intracellular parasites and generally require arthropod vectors. And finally, Legionella, which, as like the above, does not typically grow on traditional media. Although Legionella is not universally included in the atypical category, since its most common manifestation is an atypical pneumonia, and its preferred antibiotic treatment is similar to other atypicals, it seems to make the most sense to include it here. This has been a relatively long lecture with plenty of unusual names and unfamiliar items thrown about. Don't worry, it will require a lot of experience, either clinical or in the microlab, before all this becomes second nature. However, if you remember nothing else from this lecture, take it the following chart, which will summarize all of the preceding information into a practical classification of bacteria. Gram-positive bacteria can be Cocci or Coccobacilli. While gram-positive rods exist, they are typically anaerobic and will be saved for later. Under Coccobacilli is Listeria. For gram-positive Cocci, if they grow in clusters, they are probably staph and should be further differentiated using the coagulase test. If they grow in pairs or chains, they are likely either Strep or Enterococcus and should undergo the hemolysis test to be further speciated. They can also be further distinguished using Mansfield serotyping. Clinically relevant gram-negative bacteria can be either Cocci, rods, or Coccobacilli. Gram-negative Cocci include Neisseria and Moraxella. Coccobacilli include Haemophilus and Bordetella. Gram-negative rods should be tested for the ability to ferment lactose. Lactose-fermenting bacteria include E. coli, Klebsiella, and Enterobacter. Slow fermenters include Serratia and Citrobacter. Lactose non-fermenters include all other gram-negative rods, such as Pseudomonas, Proteus, and Acinetobacter. Anaerobic bacteria include Clostridium, Bacteroides, Streptococci, and Actinomyces. Atypical bacteria include Mycoplasma, Chlamydia, Rickettsia, and Legionella. And the last remaining category is for the gram-variable Coccobacillus acinetobacter. I started this lecture with a brief word about how people commonly refer to specific bacteria. I'll end the lecture by revisiting this issue with some more bacteria shorthand, with which one should be familiar. Streptococcus pneumoniae is often referred to as pneumococcus. Haemophilus influenzae is almost always called H-flu. The large family of gram-negative bacteria, called Enterobacteriaceae, is also referred to as enteric gram-negative rods, or just plain enterics. This shorthand is potentially confusing since there are many gram-negative rods which are commonly found within the GI tract, which are not former members of this family. Clostridium difficile is C. diff. Any and all anaerobic species are usually called just plain anaerobes and are rarely referred to as individual members, with the exception of C. diff. If those aren't enough names of which you should be aware, there are four types of bacteria which are commonly referred to by an acronym describing a pattern of antibiotic resistance. Methicillin-sensitive Staph aureus is called MSSA. Methicillin-resistant Staph aureus is MRSA. Vancomycin-resistant Enterococcus is VRE. And any member of the Enterobacteriaceae family that produces an antibiotic inactivating enzyme called extended-spectrum beta-lactamase is often called ESBL. That concludes this lecture on the classification of bacteria. I hope you found it interesting and useful. The next lecture will discuss a few diseases which are commonly mediated by bacteria, including the specific microbial etiologies of each. It's Eric Strong, and today I'll be discussing the So the main objective of these videos is to understand the purpose, content, and organization of the medical HMP, to compare the oral presentation of the HMP to its written form, and to know some additional tips on what makes an effective oral presentation. In the first video, I'll discuss the conceptual details of the HMP. In the second video, I'll give an example of an HMP oral presentation displayed side-by-side, real-time annotations pointing out the concepts introduced in the verse. This video will cover topics relevant to both oral presentations and their written counterparts. That's because there are obvious similarities between them. Specifically, the overall format is identical. That is, each has a chief complaint, a history of present illness, passport history, etc. Each section is presented in the same order and is roughly the same type of content. However, there are, of course, some important differences. The purpose of the oral presentation is rapid communication and to aid in real-time decision-making. Therefore, we avoid excessive details. The purpose of a written note, however, is to serve as a detailed reference and a legal document, and therefore it should be very comprehensive. Let me review the overall structure of the HOP. First comes the reporting section. This is where the presenter or writer conveys factual information as objectively as possible. It's divided into the history, exam, and diagnostics. With the history, there will obviously be some degree of subjectivity, and as the one obtaining the history, the clinician will need to selectively filter out the relevant information. The history is further subdivided into the source of information, the chief complaint, history of illness, past history, meds, allergies, and so on. I'll go through each of these in a few minutes. The exam typically starts with a statement about the patient's general appearance, then the vital signs, and the remainder of the exam is usually organized roughly head to toe, other than the neural exam, which for some reason is often listed last. The diagnostic subsection includes all labs, as well as results of any other relevant tests, including x-rays, CT scans, and EKGs. Now, in addition to the reporting section, there is also an interpretation section, which is frequently referred to as the assessment and plan. This typically takes the form of a problem list. Each problem that the patient has on a vision, whether it's an acute physiologic derangement, a particular symptom, an unexplained exam finding, or a chronic medical condition, should be listed here. For any new problem, there should be a sequence of diagnosis with explanation, and each problem should have diagnostic, therapeutic, and educational plans in relevance. I'll discuss this in more detail later as well. Now, these two sections, the reporting section and the interpretation section, comprise the entirety of many HOPs, but there's something critically important that joins the two together. It's often known as the impression, though I find that term to be too imprecisely used. Instead, I call this brief but essential extra section the linking statement. It links the recording and interpretation sections together, and a bit more than that, which I'll get to soon. And let me discuss each one of these headings. The very first thing in the HOP should be a brief statement as to the source of information and of the clinician's impression of the source's reliability. Here are some examples. Sources of patient who appears reliable. Sources of patient's spouse who appears reliable. Sources of patient who appears unreliable secondary to apparent alcohol intoxication. Or sources of the medical chart as the patient is unconscious and no family or friends are immediately available to provide information. Next is the chief complaint. This is the patient's primary reason for seeking medical attention. It can either be in the patient's own words, which is now less common but more traditional, or in your own short summary phrase, which is more common but sometimes discouraged by instructors. In most cases, I prefer the latter. It should only include abnormal exam and lab findings or a diagnosis if they are previously established before the patient arrived. For example, if a patient came to the ER because his primary care provider called to tell him that his blood count was critically low, an anemia could be listed as a chief complaint in that case. Now, if the patient is unable to offer any history at all, the chief complaint is why someone else sought medical attention for him or her. I think it's helpful to provide specific structures for the chief complaint. If one uses the patient's own words, that structure would be first age and gender, plus the highly relevant items of the past medical history, plus the patient's own words for why he or she is seeking medical attention. For example, Ms. Chang is a 50-year-old woman with heart failure who is presenting because, quote, I haven't been able to catch my breath all day, close quote. Or Mr. Smith is a 25-year-old man with schizophrenia who states, quote, the CIA is trying to control me with microwaves, close quote. The other option for the chief complaint is a short summary phrase. In this case, it's age and gender, plus highly relevant past history, plus the primary symptom or symptoms, plus the duration of that symptom or symptoms. Mr. Singh is a 76-year-old man with diabetes and hypertension who presents with right arm weakness and difficulty speaking for 2 hours. Although the chief complaint may seem very straightforward, it's the most commonly formed part of a whole presentation. And since it comes right at the beginning, if this happens to you, it's guaranteed to start you off on the wrong foot. So let's take a look at some common mistakes. For our first suboptimal chief complaint, Mr. Williams is a 55-year-old man with diabetes presenting with a heart attack. What's the error here? It includes a presumed diagnosis. Revised, it might read, Mr. Williams is a 55-year-old man with diabetes presenting with chest pain for 3 hours. This might be a good spot for you to discuss why one should not mention the presumed diagnosis up front. It's basically to prevent excessive biasing of the listener or reader. An excellent presentation first provides all the relevant objective data in order and without interpretation, allowing the listener to reach their own conclusions in their head without the diagnosis before the presenter explains what his or her conclusions are. This allows independent verification of the presenter's clinical reasoning process. Let's take a look at some more examples. Here's a chief complaint of Ms. Lee is a 14-year-old girl with no significant medical history presenting with diarrhea for 1 week and hypokalemia. The error here should be obvious. It includes a lab result that was presumably not known at the time of the patient's initial arrival. The corrected version omits hypokalemia. Mr. Oku is a 58-year-old man with gout, left knee arthritis, chronic low back pain, and heavy ulcer disease presenting with an acute abdomen. What's the error here? There are actually two. First, the original version includes parts of the medical history that are completely irrelevant. Second, it includes an interpretation of the exam rather than the patient's presenting symptom. A far better version would read, Mr. Oku is a 58-year-old man with heavy ulcer disease presenting with severe epigastric pain for 45 minutes. Finally, what about this chief complaint? Cough and fever. This complaint provides absolutely no context for the symptoms. Is this a previously healthy 6-month-old infant or a 50-year-old man with AIDS? Instead, one could report this as Ms. Patel is a 90-year-old woman with dementia and from her nursing home for cough and fever for 2 hours. Remember, the goal with the chief complaint is to provide the context of upcoming history without giving away the diagnosis prematurely. In the U.S. at least, there's a common variation to the chief complaint as I've described it. Some providers separate the chief complaint into ID for identification and CC for chief complaint. For example, the ID might read, Mr. Jones is a 84-year-old man with cirrhosis, and the separate chief complaint reads, vomiting blood for 2 hours. I personally think it sounds better and flows better to put them both together into a single line. Moving on to the history of breast illness, abbreviated HBI. The HBI is like telling a story, one in which chronology is extremely important. It should include key events and only relevant information. It often begins with, quote, Mr. or Ms. so-and-so was in his or her usual state of health until. Symptoms should be described in addition to just being listed or mentioned. And at the end of the HPI, one should describe the patient's perception of illness, or PPI. As a common variation, some clinicians list the PPI in a separate section, immediately following the HPI. Another, occasionally encountered variation of the HPI imagines it quite differently. Instead of a story told in prose, the HPI can be listed as a series of dates and events. I won't read through this, but feel free to pause it here if you'd like to. I'll look at it on your own. I find this one that works well for unusually complicated HPIs, or HPIs that involve multiple prior hospitalizations, or multiple adjustments to outpatient medications, which could be contributing to the current presentation, such as changing doses of diuretics or antihypertensives. Next up is the path of history, or PMH. Unlike the HPI, which is typically done in prose, the PMH should always be done as a list. Provide details of each item in proportion to the relevance to the chief complaint and HPI. If an item in the PMH is completely resolved and is of no relevance at all to the HPI, you should omit it. Continue correct disease markers when relevant in order to give the listener or reader an idea of how well that disease is controlled as an outpatient. For example, the patient's baseline weight in CHF, typical outpatient blood pressure and hypertension, most recent hemoglobin A1C and diabetes, and the baseline range of creatinines in chronic kidney disease. Here's what the PMH might look like in a written note.